When love is on the rocks, divorce may no longer be an option.
In tonight's Fox Focus, Amy Lang shows us how the drop in the housing market is leading to financial ruin for both partners.
That's pretty nasty.
We're finding more and more that there's no equity in the home.
There may not be more divorces right now or fewer divorces, but they're just more complicated.
Blame the economy and the housing mess for making already messy divorces messier than ever. The courts are crowded with complicated cases, and you'd be surprised at what some attorneys are telling clients to do. But first, meet one of the many people experiencing this crisis firsthand.
I spent literally days, painting a mural of a castle and, the hills.
Mark Combs isn't a painter. He's a pharmacist, a Parkinson's patient, and a divorced father of 2 girls, the princesses for whom he painted the castle mural at the dream home he and his wife built in Oxford 5 years ago.
So many personal touches. From, the kitchen to everything. It was ours.
And unfortunately now, it still is. When Combs and his wife divorced 2 years ago, he had no idea he'd still be paying on that home where his ex-wife and kids live, while he lives in an apartment because they can't sell the house.
My plan was, in 2 years, all the, debt would be paid off that I incurred. I can't pay that off yet, because the house hasn't sold.
And as he's waiting, housing values have plummeted. He and his ex have dropped their price from $575,000 to $399,000. He was supposed to be done with alimony payments in a few months, but wonders if there's any end in sight. This situation is not uncommon. The downturn in the economy is devastating families, and divorced families are hit especially hard.
Historically, we've always, divorce has been mostly about dividing up assets, but lately we're just seeing a lot more dividing up the debts between the parties.
Suzanne Hollier is the Oakland County Friend of the Court, where 2,500 families with children are seen each year. Hollier says divorces have become so much more complicated, with houses that won't sell and parents needing to leave the state for work. Still others are staying together, sort of.
We do see some divorces where the parties will continue to live together in the marital home until it sells.
They're just not selling, and people are just stuck with them, and people are walking away from them.
Attorney Bill Brukoff says some couples are choosing not to split up at all, simply because they don't think they'll be able to sell their homes.
Sometimes the very best advice you can give to somebody is don't do it.
Are you really going to have enough to live on after this is done?
Attorney Stephen Reinheimer is also counseling clients to think long-term and to approach the divorce with less emotion and more business savvy.
I think it's something that you really have to think about, especially now.
That advice from David Wassman, who divorced a year ago after 20 years of marriage. He's now in the marital home that's decreased in value by nearly 30% in the last few years.
To see a lot of it erode very quickly at the same time that you've got this major life change happening, if you can wait, it might not be a bad idea. Some people can't wait, though.
In Oakland County, Amy Lang, Fox 2 News.